Good evening. This is the Dania Beach City Commission regular meeting. It is Tuesday, September 10, 2019 at 7:06 p.m. Can you please call the roll?
Mayor Llewellyn,
Here.
Vice Mayor Odman,
Here.
Commissioner Brandemart,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner James,
Here.
City Manager Garcia,
Here.
City Attorney Gugelman.
Just so you all know, Tom is not gone. He's just out sick tonight. So we have a guest from Weisserota who is visiting us, Mr. Gugelman? Gubelman. Okay. All right. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And can we please pause for a moment of silence? I want to specifically point out two groups of people. One is the people in the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian. And also I'd like to have us reflect on September 11th, which is tomorrow. That'll be the 18th anniversary. Thank you. Next item is presentations and special event approvals. My understanding is that our first item, which is the Dania Beach Chamber of Commerce, will not be tonight because apparently Randy is unavailable. Randy's not feeling well. So West Lawn Cemetery rededication requested by Commissioner James.
Yes, thank you. When this came some months ago, and we decided that when the gentleman by the name of Fred Beneby approached me and wanted to have a rededication, I've left you all a draft program. I want to know if we need any changes. That doesn't have to be decided today because, as we know, there were a few people that couldn't make it. And so I want to make sure that we are planning this where everyone can make it. I think this is a very important ceremony that is past due time to happen. For those of you all that don't know what I'm talking about the West Lawn Cemetery, which beforehand was called the Colored Cemetery, which beforehand we only had one cemetery on the east side, and a little boy by the name then of Marvin Merritt smelt a smell when he was like 6 years old or 7 years old, from what I was told. And he witnessed prisoners digging up the bodies of black people that are on the east side of the cemetery that is currently there. They no longer wanted black people to be buried with white people, and they took them out of their tombs, put them in a wheelbarrow, and took them over to the west side of the cemetery. And he was a part and one of the pioneers with two other gentlemen by the name of Fred Beneby and William Hall that got it properly rededicated. They looked on the broken tombstones and tried to find as many people as possible, but it was in essence a mass grave that's still there today, and they have a symbolic little meaning and a monument there. He approached me several months ago wanting to properly memorialize these individuals and to do a proper rededication, which they had been planning for, 30 years, and it never came to be realized. And so that is what this is. This is for. I would like to see what Friday morning we all are available, because they live in Daytona and in Gainesville, and he is currently having to cancel his hotels now because we were unable to do it this Friday. But because of everything else that's being scheduled with tents and chairs and tables, we kind of need a direct date. We had a butterfly release to be scheduled, and we had to release the butterflies already because of the hurricane came, and we couldn't have this. And so what will be here is a monument and a ceremonial, two ceremonial markers that have a street name on them, but it isn't a physical address. There isn't anything that you can put in GPS. So the renaming policy, I mean, unless we're going to go and petition the people that are in the grave, I don't think that would really work. And the gentleman who whose name would be on the sign would be Marvin Merritt, who passed away while he was doing his community service in these neighborhoods. So do you have, number one, do you have any changes that you would like to be made to the program?
Is this for the 13th or the 20th?
We
It's
haven't
not
decided
for the,
that.
it's no longer for the 13th, but I need to find a date that we all will be in attendance.
The first Friday that I'm available is the 27th.
But don't you already have chairs and whatever else?
We had to cancel it. It was too late for me to give. I mean, I had them waiting on a tentative date. I sent out, and I had Chris send out an email last week, which I only got an answer yesterday. So it was really short notice for people that are traveling, and they're older people that are traveling.
Okay.
So I don't think that was enough notice for them as well.
I can do the 27th.
You could do 27th.
13th is
It's up to Commissioner Harris and Vice Mayor, because I can do the 27th as
Yes,
well.
of course, the 27th is fine. Okay.
Okay, so that will be the date, and it will be at 10 o'clock in the morning, I guess.
The 27th of September.
Any changes that need to be made to this program?
I may have a change, but I need to bring a couple things up. So
Okay.
I'll wait and see if anybody has any other changes, and then if you want to, I don't know if you want to continue your presentation, or
That was it. It wasn't like a PowerPoint or anything like that. It's just,
I think this is a really important event. I think it's really important that all of us be there. I think this is one of those things that's, it impacts history, and I think it's very important for all of us to be there. I am concerned and a little disappointed, though, that there was a lot of things that were done with this that without kind of updating us. This is the first that I've seen of any kind of a program, and this was originally scheduled for last week. Also, I have concerns about naming a street. I understand it's a service road, but I think it still applies because it's public property and it's a city street. It's still a city road. And the problem is that, and maybe no one will have any issue with it whatsoever, I think you still have to follow the policy. Even if it doesn't say service road in the policy, I think you still have to follow it because of the fact that you're naming it.
what signatures would you get on the?
I'm sorry?
What signatures would you get? Because that's what's on the policy. Is to get signatures of the people that live on both sides of the
Perhaps the
street,
people who have family members in the cemetery.
even if they don't live in the city?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could ask the attorney if he has any thoughts on that. Because I know, and we also have to vote on it, and, I mean, I think you have to have a public hearing as well to allow people to speak. I think it would be appropriate. It's been voted on by the commission in the past.
A policy has, but this doesn't.
I understand that, but even McLeay Way, okay? That's not a road per se. That was voted on by the commission.
I understand that.
And that would follow the same policy. This would be the same or similar type of situation. So that's what I'm just saying. I want to make sure that we follow proper policy and that we're not excluding individuals who might have something to say about it. That's all. I also want to, I'm a little bit concerned also about the invitation process. I didn't know if, apparently there were invitations sent out. I know that we got them as well. But I was getting phone calls from people who didn't know about it. They happened to hear about it from word of mouth, who I would have expected would have been invited. And there were a lot of people that, I mean, I got a lot of phone calls over the weekend, last weekend about it. People that were very, very upset that they weren't invited, that live near the cemetery in particular, and have people in the
Can I
cemetery.
address that?
You may.
Because we still have a lot of the invitations. It didn't come out. This wasn't something that we've had for months. And so when I sent the city manager and everyone else, like the things that we were all doing, because this is a CRA and city event, and the responsibilities were delegated. I mean, because when this came up for discussion, there had been no further discussion from anyone. And so just as how we see all of this here, and the painting and the different dyads, and we all didn't vote on that, but it's here because we discussed those upgrades. Is kind of something like similar. I was going to come back, but when the storm came, that was number one for me. And you can ask the city manager. I asked her ahead of time, should we cancel? Should we think about all of the things that I had slated to do? Because I still had invitations. I wasn't going to
That was-
pass them. All of them weren't passed out.
Okay.
So people weren't left out.
The problem was this was before, well, even before, it was, well, let's see, when was it? It was over the weekend, while the hurricane was going on, that I started getting phone calls, when we were having all the preparations and everything else. And whether you did or did not, the concern is making sure that we're including people and not excluding anybody. And I just want to make sure that we have the invitation list that's complete. Because this is a really important event, and it means a lot to a lot of people. It means a lot to the entire city. It'll probably mean a lot to people outside of the city as well, because like you said, there are people in that cemetery that are not necessarily from Dania Beach. And it's an important event, and there were people that felt like they were being excluded because they had seen flyers or they had seen something in church or whatever, but they weren't invited, and they felt like they were being excluded.
Would you
And I
like
know
to put out a
there's-
mailer?
Perhaps we need to do
I mean,
that.
that's more expensive, but if the city wants to put out a mailer, I'm all for it.
It might be an option. I know there's some people that want to speak on it tonight. I saw a couple of citizen comments. People wanted to speak on it.
That's
I don't know if
fine.
we want to hear from some of the individuals.
No, that's fine. Listen, I'm open to any comments or whatever needs to be said, but I just wanted to, well, as far as the program part, I guess get past one thing before we go to the next
Well,
thing.
that's why I was saying if you wanted to go through the rest of your presentation, that's why I was.
It's just a program.
Okay. I don't have a problem with the program. I do think we need to address the issue with the street sign.
Yeah, I see that too.
I know we had talked about doing a plaque. Can we get an opportunity to see the plaque? Or see-
Callie is out of the country,
Okay.
so from what I've known, everything has already been produced.
I haven't seen anything.
I don't know if the city manager saw it. I know we had a meeting, but I don't know if she saw no. So,
Okay, so, and that's my concern, is that, I know we talked about this months and months ago, and I'm glad it's finally coming to fruition. I kind of feel like it would have been nice to have more updates, so that we kind of knew what was going on. Because like I said, the first that anybody, I think, heard about it, at least that I heard about it, was right before the hurricane, when I got my little invitation. And I didn't even realize anything. I was just looking at the date, and I made sure my date was clear that date, for the 6th, when we were originally going to do it. And I wasn't even looking at all the information that was on there about street naming, and actually somebody was contacting me about that as well. So anyway, the street naming is an issue, and I just want to make sure that the invitations are complete and that they're going to everybody that they need to go to. I'd like to see the list, if possible, of who the invitations are going to make sure that there are people on there that need to be on there. Okay? Anything else from anybody?
I clicked.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Ranamari?
It says unveiling of the street signs. Are they already done?
yes.
Are they already up?
No, they're not up. I drove past there. I didn't see that they were up. The plan was to put them up a few days before the event and then cover them and then unveil them, but they're already produced.
I don't remember how we did Charles McElroy.
I asked.
I know Mimi was involved with Charles McElroy, I thought, or Patty, somebody, Patty.
My understanding was it was a vote by the commission. I believe it was a unanimous vote by the commission, but it was held as a vote. It was presented, the normal procedure, and voted on by the commission. And like I said, there may be no objections. It might be. I just want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. I don't want to exclude anybody.
I understand your point, because I don't want somebody to come back later
Right.
and complain
Right.
either.
Right.
But
It's
I don't
especially-
really remember if we did it by a vote.
especially because it
We
is
did,
so
Patty.
important.
Patty said we did it by
Yeah.
a vote, so I believe it.
Yeah. It is such an
Well, then
important
vote
thing.
on it now.
I mean, we're
Well, we
going to
don't-
listen to what everyone has
Who
to say, I
cares?
guess.
Huh?
I don't know. She wants to listen to what other people have to say.
No, I think that we
I
should
just think,
vote on
I
it.
think we need to do it the proper way. I
Well,
mean,
we
we would
can-
have time. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but I think we need to give people an opportunity if there is a problem. That's all.
But weren't these already given out, Mayor?
No.
No invitations were given out
No,
for this?
there were some invitations that
There
went
was some,
out.
we were in the
but not
middle
all.
of giving the invitations
All right.
out, and then we started focusing on the storm, and I didn't think that we would be able to
Well, I'm
have
sure
it.
the invitations know that it's unveiling of the street sign, so I don't understand why we can't vote on it now.
But not everybody got their invitations. That's that was my point. I was getting phone calls from people who found out about it through a neighbor or through a friend or through their church or whatever, that they well, not everybody goes on the website. I mean, some of the people that were calling me aren't really computer savvy, so,
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, there's a lot.
so,
What's the next step?
do we know what the next step is for the street naming policy? Like, what
I
is
need to
that?
ask a question, because I don't think this falls under the street naming policy, because it isn't a, first, let's be very clear. I probably won't see any of you all in that neighborhood, maybe like 2% of you all in that cemetery. And this isn't a public space where we have all of these grand events. If people have public comment about it, I welcome them all, as you have every right to have that. But as far as following a portion of a policy, I feel like you either follow it all or you don't, or it doesn't apply. But I don't think I've seen us or have practices to where we pick and choose what part of the policy we want to follow. So I'm going to ask the sitting-in city attorney, and I'm so sorry, because he probably knows nothing about what I'm talking about. I mean, in this event.
This is a very important event that you're talking. It goes directly to the heart of this community.
Can you speak in the mic so they can hear you?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are you here picking me up okay?
Yes.
Okay. This is a very important event. It goes directly to the heart of this community. And so I'd recommend to you that whatever way you go, as the mayor said, do it right.
Correct.
And I think as far as the street renaming, I think your policy is somewhat vague, but this is something based on your past precedent with Mac McAllier, and based on the way that the wording of the thing is, I think you actually have to go through and pass some sort of hold a public hearing and pass some sort of resolution to make sure you've complied with it. And let me tell you what my real worry is. My real worry is that if you don't follow the street renaming process, somebody's going to pop up in some other location and say, oh, well, you didn't follow it then, we don't need to do it now, we can just do whatever we want. And that may not be what the community wants. I think who the applicant is the city. It's city property. The city property is on both sides of this roadway. So I think the city can be the applicant. And my one concern I would have to you is so that everybody can be there and so that you have a good opportunity to get out notices into the mail to all the people that you want to invite. Is the 27th going to give you enough time to get all that into the
No,
mail
it's
and
not,
do
'cause-
that? You may want to roll that into like October or something like that. And that would give you maybe a chance to work with the guests from out of town to make sure they can get whatever hotel reservations they need. And that's just my suggestion to you.
Okay, so if we're following a policy and the policy says that we're supposed to get signatures, is it your recommendation that we go get their
The sig-
families if we
No,
can't
no,
find them? or-
the signatures would be the city, because the city has the property on both sides of the roadway.
Okay,
How many representatives of the
so
city
people
would
are
be?
renting the plot and not buying the plot?
I
Don't
think
they
if the
own plot?
commission, I think
hold
if the
on.
commission authorizes it, that's what you need. They can authorize the manager to sign the application.
Well, can we vote on it?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
20 minutes ago, I thought.
I would hope that you would.
Yeah,
Good, I'll make a motion then.
well, not, what he's saying,
I word it because it's so confusing.
but it's not to make a motion to, on the name, it's, that would have to, we have to follow the procedure, is what I think he's saying. We need to follow the procedure first, and then we come back and vote on it.
Vote on that too, though.
Oh, on that, okay.
She said that, Patty, we voted on naming
Mac, yeah.
it Max Way.
Right.
So, again, I say, why can't we do something?
I have a suggestion, maybe it'll move us along. I want to see if we have consensus first to name it, what is his name? Marvin Merritt Way, or whatever it's going to be called. If we have consensus for that, we can come back and have the 24th as the public hearing. And because we'll have the public hear what the public have to say. Worst case scenario, the street sign part is omitted. Worst case scenario, which would be unfortunate because his wife and family will be the ones that be at the event, but again, it's out of my hands, so that would be worst case scenarios. But so that we can keep the 27th, if we have consensus here to name it that, we can move forward with the public hearing so that the public could be noticed and it could be done proper and no one has an issue.
Excuse me, they already had the death. I wouldn't put them through it a second time like that. That's cruel. I wouldn't do that. And the audience was even shaking their heads no. That's cruel. They got to go through this twice? When you bury somebody, that's it.
I'm just trying to move it along.
I thought. I agree with you. I want to move it along. My thought is, though, I thought we said we weren't going to have enough time to do all that by the 27th. Didn't we just say that? So I thought that's.
We wouldn't have, I'm saying if we already, that's why I was trying to see if we have consensus to name it that. If we have consensus to name it that, then we will have enough time. But if we don't have consensus to name it that, and we don't even know how we feel first, then you wouldn't have enough time to have that discussion then on the 24th. That's what I'm saying.
My concern is that I'm just getting all of this information now. That's my concern. And I'm definitely not against, I'd like to see this go forward, and I think, like I said, it is a really important event. I'm just concerned that we just literally just got all of this information. I don't know if anybody else did, but it's the first time I've seen any of this. And I'd like a little time to digest it.
No, that's fine. I'm not saying that. Okay.
You're asking
Commissioner
us,
Brandon,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're asking us to basically say yes to something that
No.
you just told us about.
No, you are welcome to say you're not comfortable giving an answer right now. I'm just trying to see where everyone else is at. So, Commissioner Harris, where do you stand with it?
Because it's city property and it affects the right-of-ways, I think we should just go through the proper channels. And the city can be the applicant, and there's a chance that we could fast-track the permit. Is that
No,
correct?
we're going to do that. That's not the question. We're going to go through the proper channels. The question is, do you think, and I'll give you, I guess, Katia has done videos with this man that's all over social media and everything else. So I don't have a personal stake in it. I was saying, do you think you would have an issue with Marvin Merritt Way?
Not now, no.
Okay. Do you think you would have an issue, Commissioner Brandon Marty?
No.
Vice Mayor, do you think you would have an issue with it?
Not now, not
Okay,
ever.
so we will give all the information that you all need. Katia has it all. We will come back and do a public hearing on the 24th, and whatever proper channels need to be gone through, we can go through them.
Can I make a request? We have two, please don't do that. That is disrespectful. The heavy size. There are two residents that want to speak on this topic, and they have put in for citizen comments. So could we hear from them now, since it's on this topic?
No, I don't mind hearing from them whenever.
But I mean, you're going with consensus and doing all this, and we have two residents here who would like to speak on this topic, and I just think we should hear from them now, since that's what we're discussing.
We can hear from them now.
Okay. Jimmy Peterman. Mr. Peterman, please state your name and address.
My name is Jimmy Peterman, 717 Southwest 4th Terrace, Dania Beach, Florida. Lifelong resident of Dania, born 5 blocks from the city hall. Been here all my life. And this was done in 1986. And my thing about this, the community that I live in didn't know anything about renaming or naming a street. I think we should have some input of a street being named after people living in Hollywood. These 2 residents, I know Mr. Merritt, I know his wife, I know his son, I know the other person that is stated in this paper, Mr. Beneby. They are Hollywood residents. And the bodies that was moved, we do not know if they was Dana residents or Hollywood residents. They was moved from the east side to the west side because Hollywood didn't provide a cemetery. We do not know if Hollywood was buried in this same cemetery. Did Hollywood move these people over here in Dana existing cemetery? I have nothing against what's going on, but the community should know what's going on renaming a street that didn't have a name. And I was a part of this new plot being added on to that cemetery. When they did the Boys and Raiders, the park down there, we got a part of that. They were trying to make the cemetery all the way across. Albert Jones and myself, we went to the city and got this part for the park. I have nothing against this, but I think the community should know what's going on, especially the Southwest Dana. I am the president of the College Garden Neighborhood Association. Nobody contacted me. And I walk the streets day and night. Everybody knows Jimmy Peterman. And I'm not against this being done, but don't jam it down our throat and say y'all got to take it. What's going on, as Mama Nye said? What's going on around here in this city hall? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterman. Derek Hankerson.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Derek Hankerson, 746 Southwest 3rd Street, Dania Beach, Florida. Mr. Peterman stated that he is the president of the College Gardens Neighborhood Association. He is kind of one of our local historians. He's been around a long time. And his wife got a copy of the flyer at church, and she called to ask if I knew anything about it, and I told her, no, I wasn't aware. I eventually did get a copy of the flyer, and I spoke to Mr. Peterman, my neighborhood association president. He said they rededicated this cemetery in the very late 80s. He said it also came along with an official apology from the city. I'm a firm believer that you can never apologize too much. I want to say that I've known Fred Beneby since I was a child. My mother and his wife were friends. I didn't realize he had relatives there, but in our own neighborhood, we have people who have relatives that were put in that mass grave. They felt as though they were outside of the process of having input. So if you open it back up to public hearing, those people may become part of the process, because you mentioned a couple names for the street signs. I don't really have a problem with that specifically, and clearly you didn't know these people either, so you don't have any ulterior motive there. I'm just thinking perhaps in the meeting process we can come up with some conciliatory way if we decide to rename those streets so that people whose relatives are there won't feel excluded. And I think that's, I had one other point about it, but I can't remember, so I'm not going to take up your time. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Eric. Okay, so that's the only residents that wanted to speak. So I just wanted to make sure that they had a chance to speak. So where are we at this point? I'm fine with the agenda, the program.
We're going to bring it on the 24th for public hearing and have the event on the 27th.
Okay, so we're going with the name that you've chosen.
We're going to bring it up on the 24th as a public hearing.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Ranamari.
Jimmy, did I understand you right that the name, that the street being named after this man is from a man who don't live in Dania, but he lived in Hollywood?
Yes, he
You
was.
think they'll put Chicky on the street in Hollywood?
They do it all the
Or
time.
do you think they'll put Jimmy Peterman on the street in Hollywood? Oh,
Well, this person was a community activist in both. So just to give you all about this Dania versus Hollywood thing, which I think is very trivial, and we need to blend those lines because that's our sister city. I was born and raised here in Dania Beach, but guess what? All of my resources and my jerseys and everything are all in Hollywood, and I have a lot of honors there in Hollywood, even though I'm not a resident. Sometimes your contribution to a city allows you to have those type of honors. We give keys. People give honorary street signs and honorary degrees and honorary plaques and keys to the city to people who don't necessarily reside in that city. I know our public services were part of the people, Dania Beach, were part of the people who were digging them up, and it wasn't Hollywood's public services. And I know they used the prisoners in order to do so. I read a multitude after this came to me, and even after I brought it to you all, I did my research on it. I didn't just sit and wait around. I did my research on it. I spoke to families. I spoke to wives. I spoke to cousins. I spoke to a lot of the people that are in these communities. I spoke to the people that currently work for our public works that are lifelong residents. And so this isn't something that somebody just brought me a name. I have a lot of different I know that this person coordinated the first rededication that we had in 1980s, and we had a reverend that was from Hollywood, and we had these 3 individuals that were from Hollywood, and we still did this rededication here in Dania Beach. So I don't want us all to get super confused with as in these names just came up, because they did do it, and these were the same people that are from quote-unquote Hollywood, which is really 2 steps across the street from this cemetery.
Well,
The 27th.
but I'd like to ask, because now there have been some questions, there have been some people that have spoken. I want to see if this is the process we want to follow and simply go by consensus, or if anybody wants to say anything else up here. Or do we want to wait and do the proper process and do this the right way? I don't feel like I feel like we're rushing the process here. And I understand you want to get it done, and I want to get it done too, but at the same time, clearly we have an entire neighborhood that knew nothing about this.
No, what I said was we're not going to pass it by consensus. That's not what I said. We're going to have a public hearing.
I understand
When you have
that,
a
but
public hearing, you still have
I
to
understand
vote
what a
on
public
the item.
hearing is.
And after you vote on the item, as I said, if worse comes to worst and we don't decide on the name, that will be omitted from the program.
I'm going to ask you once again, as I've done in the past, to please not condescend to me.
No, I was speaking,
But
Mayor.
I would ask you to please not be condescending. I'm trying to do this the proper way so that we can make sure that everybody is included and we do not exclude people for whatever reason. Like I said, this may be perfectly fine, it may not be an issue, but we obviously have at least one person who has a concern about the individuals living in Hollywood. I don't know if there are others, and I understand there's going to be a public hearing, but the point is that you're already trying to get a consensus to put a name out there already without giving people an opportunity to voice their opinions as to other names or other things that they might want to do. That's all I'm saying. So I just wanted to see if anybody else feels the same way, if they want to do something different, if they want to go through the proper channels, as opposed to doing this simply through doing it by consensus and then having the public hearing, where it'll be a lot harder to turn it around at that point. And I'm trying to do it the right way from the beginning, as opposed to trying to reverse something down the road. That's all. Does anybody have anything to say on that? Okay, that's fine then. So, next. Go ahead, Commissioner Brandon. Right, and specifically, what was the procedure that we need to follow? Let's make sure that we're following the proper procedure. Go ahead, just file the application.
You all are basically agreeing to authorize the manager to sign on behalf of the city to file the application. Once the application's been filed, you'll give public notice. You'll have your public hearing on presumably the 24th? 23rd, I'm sorry. And you'll make your final decision at that point.
Okay.
Now, the only thing that, as the mayor has pointed out, is if you decide to do something different, if you've already got invitations in the mail and stuff like that, it may be a little hard to unravel things, but.
Well, and also already ordering signs and that sort of thing, so that's,
So you may, you certainly hold your public hearing on the 23rd, get public input, get the people voicing their opinion in support of this, hopefully, and, then maybe what you do is you hold the actual ceremony in October or something, when you've got a chance to get invites out, get signs made, et cetera, et cetera. Just a suggestion.
I mean, I can look at my calendar in October. I have more time in October. It's further out. You can ask. Would everybody like to have a little additional time on that, or are you fine with the 27th? Okay. Okay. Then we'll leave it at the 27th. I just hope it works out. Anything else on that? Okay. There are no proclamations tonight, and the remainder of the citizen comments. Craig Valentine.
Good evening, everyone. Craig Valentine, Gangrels Wrestling Asylum, 1982 Tiger Tail Boulevard, Dania Beach, Florida. Just wanted to go ahead and give everybody an update on the second annual cancer benefit that's going on October 13th at Gangrels Wrestling Asylum. Commissioner Brenda Marty and Bobby Grace. Donations have been coming in. Actually, our first donor was City Manager Anna Garcia. The City of Dania Beach, the CRA, Waste Management has donated, Shenanigans, the 80s Club. About 40 wrestling fans already have purchased the VIP passes to go ahead and go to the event. And there's more donations coming. I believe Shenanigans is donating now. So the event's getting larger and larger. So hopefully we'll make our goal for it. We have a lot of events coming up in the city. I spoke with Chief Sergio, our new chief, since we are doing our third annual toy drive. It's going to be at the Casino at Dania Beach. He's offered to bring out the fire trucks, quarterdeck, Millersdale House, Tiger Tail, Boat Campers now is all going to be involved in raising toys for the toy drive. So I know everybody's got to be at the boat parade for that one. And I hope the mayor does not throw anything at me, but Gangrel was invited to Club 72 at the Dolphins game this Sunday to promote the breast cancer benefit. Hopefully they don't lose by 100 points. Also,
50.
Bobby Grace brought something very interesting up to me for the Martin Luther King Parade. Our events are actually planned all the way now through 2021 at the casino. We now have contracts going that far. There's not much to do after the Martin Luther King Parade, so I got with Josh Crowder, the Casino at Dania Beach. We are going to be putting on a wrestling show for the kids over at C.W. Thomas Park after the parade. And I think for the toy drive and the MLK event, I think it'd be nice. Chief Sergio was a wrestling coach, and he actually told me that he would not mind getting in the ring with Gangrel himself. It would be nice if BSO, since they are the fire department and the police department, maybe we could get them both over at the school to train for the 14th event and also for Martin Luther King for the kids. So I'll leave that up to them.
Commissioner James?
Yes, about the MLK, you're going to have it at C.W. Thomas Park where? Did we coordinate this with Parks and Rec?
Should I commission anymore? Bobby Grace,
I'm just asking because I'm on the MLK board as well, and so I didn't hear, I wasn't at, well, we have a meeting coming up on Thursday, but I didn't know that, well, who's paying for this? Is the MLK, because we don't have money to pay for this.
no, it's actually the casino took care of it for it. The casino
The
took care
casino
of
paid-
it,
okay.
took care of us directly, and they're going to be involved with the event with us.
Okay, and so just make sure you're going, like, you need to meet with Director Eric Brown to make sure, like, we have all the logistics of where everything is going to be. And then so-
I guess I'll get with Bobby Grace, because she's the one that we were discussing with at our last cancer meeting. I don't know if she's here tonight. I didn't see her here this evening.
No, she's not here.
But she's the one that was very excited that.
That's fine.
we
Well,
were gonna do it.
she can be at the meeting, but you're going to
Yeah.
still have to talk to the director to make sure that, you know, the areas of the park or where it's going to be or in the logistic and the staffing and everything else that goes along with it to make sure, you know, if it's a holiday, if we could have staff over that time. But I'm sure the kids will enjoy it. Just make sure we get with city staff so we can do it the right way.
Oh, yeah, can't talk too well today. I have all intent to go ahead and doing everything the right way,
Yep, please.
so. All right.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Michael Sarton?
Michael Sarton, 746 Southwest 3rd Street in Dania Beach. City is not a business. Its primary reason for being is the safety and well-being of its residents. The primary purpose of a business, of course, is to make money for its owner or owners. The city, nevertheless, ought to be run in a business-like manner. Item 1, last week for the first time I saw one of the electric car charging stations actually being used to charge an electric car. I was very surprised because I'm in and out of the library a lot and I'd never seen them used in that manner before. I was so surprised I followed the man, sat down next to him in the library and asked him what he was doing there and made sure that he understood that he was paying 39 cents per kilowatt hour for that electricity. Generally, people who drive electric cars know how to measure electricity and know how to plan their transportation so that they don't end up paying what is 4 times the going rate for energy. He had a good reason. He needed to come to this library. He doesn't have a charging station at his condo in Dania Beach. And he generally goes to the Hollywood Library where charging, of course, is free at their charging station. I don't know why the bad decision was made to do the partnership with Bing, charging 39 cents per kilowatt hour. Item 2. The median household income in 2018 in the United States, $63,000. In Dania Beach, the median income is $43,202. We are, in relative terms, a poor city. And I don't see what we're doing to either attract high-wage jobs or to encourage our young people toward well-paying occupations. Item 3, I apologize to the clerk for leaving early last time. I had a wardrobe malfunction. I could either keep my hands in my pockets because I didn't have a belt on, or I could talk. Item 4, in my experience, the naming of public property in honor of a living person is a treacherous business. You never know what a living person might do in the future. The dead, if they know nothing, know their place in history and aren't likely to make any more of it. And for item 5, I'm certain there will be other commission meetings. Have a good evening, all.
Thank you. Ronald Koenig. Please state your name and address.
My name is Ronald Koenig, 360 Southeast 6th Street, Dania Beach. I'm here to let the commission know today that what is going on in our neighborhood is virtually unacceptable. this Airbnb, which I live 2 houses away from where it's a weekend party, meaning Friday night, Saturday night. I think the Dania Beach Police are doing their job wonderful. They come by, they warn them, they come by again, and they warn them. They do it again on Saturday night. Next week, it's a different group of people. We bought in the neighborhood. It is a good city. It's a good neighborhood. It's a clean neighborhood. I don't need beer cans on my lawn. I don't need my grass in the front that we take care of for the city cut up. I don't need to hear 10:30 at night people jumping in and out of pools, whether I don't know what they do. I don't even want to look down there. But I live 2 houses from it. What about the people that live behind it? What about the people that live across the street from it? Or does the city just want me to turn my house into a weekend party home? I'll barbecue, I'll do whatever it takes, but I'm sure I'm not the first to complain. And I don't think I'm the last, and I think the city should come up with an idea that I pay my taxes. Do these renters pay the tax as a business? I want to improve my neighborhood. I want the people around us to be together that this is a nice neighborhood. Whether it's northwest, southwest, southeast, we shouldn't have to put up with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have Derek Hankerson again. Can you be quick, please? Yes. Thank you.
Derek Hankerson, you have my address. This time I'm speaking as Vice Chair of Dania Quality Housing Solutions. As you know, Saratoga Crossings 1 and 2 will be open for residents most likely sometime late October, early November. 40 of those units are dedicated for seniors, that is, people who are 62 years of age or older. These are for medium and low-income seniors. The maximum occupancy will be 2 individuals per unit because they're only 1-bedrooms. They are dedicated because we're using Section 8 vouchers for those 40 units. The voucher remains with the unit. If an individual decides to move, they don't take the voucher with them. It is not portable. That way, we maintain a constant stock of senior housing in the city. We are opening up a wait list on September 13th, I believe that's Friday, at 10 a.m. We're doing it in the style of the old radio station contest, first come, first serve. You just have to keep calling until you get through. We have 40 units. We are going to take 75 reservations because some people will either not show up or won't qualify. I can give you the telephone number for those that are interested. It is 954-920-9807. That is a dedicated line. It's not the regular call-in line, but if for some reason you lose the number, you can call the Housing Authority office and get it. And I thank you.
Derek, can you repeat the number one more time?
Of course.
And I'm also going to ask city manager or city clerk, can we put this on our website as well to make sure that people know the number where they can call?
The number is 954-920-9807. Thank you.
Thank you. Public safety reports.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Our crime prevention unit attends meetings with other crime prevention units about once a month from different municipalities and jurisdictions. They discuss crime trends, they discuss They share ideas. It's a good networking unit. One trend came up that's really important to us, being so close to the airport and Port Everglades. Apparently in places not here, people would be driving around with Uber or Lyft decals, and they weren't really Uber or Lyft drivers, and they were casing neighborhoods and cars. So I'm not saying all of them are going to be casing neighborhoods, but unless they're dropping somebody off, if you see one going a little slow or acting a little suspicious in your neighborhood, that'd probably be a good time to call us. We can come out and check it out. I believe it was the last commission approved an ordinance in reference to commercial vehicle enforcement. I wanted to share some numbers that I have going from January 19 through August of 19. Our commercial motor vehicle enforcement deputy has issued 390 commercial vehicle citations, resulting in $44,850 coming to our city. 35 commercial vehicle warning citations, $3,800 in commercial vehicle weight violations, 48 criminal no commercial insurance citations, and 34 commercial suspended driver's license citations. These numbers would be higher like they were the previous reporting period, but word's gotten out that we've taken a proactive approach to commercial vehicle safety and enforcement. Another unit I'd like to highlight real briefly is our homeless outreach. What a fantastic job they've been doing. I actually just received a letter at my office from 3 now legal residents of Dania Beach. I'd like to share it with you. Pardon some of the grammar. Dear sir, we would like to thank the reference deputies of your department for having such professional attitudes, full of empathy and intelligence. They have gone above and beyond the call of duty, being firm yet understanding in every aspect of completing their duties. They have given us great advice and proper direction as to what we can and cannot be done in this wonderful city we love and call Dania Beach. It is sad to say that we were homeless and feeling destitute. However, due to the help of Deputy Hatfield and Deputy Weir, we are able to obtain proper residency. We are finally off the streets and feeling like human beings again. Words cannot explain the appreciation we feel. These officers will always be remembered for all of their good and kind efforts of humanity. So I just wanted to share that with everybody, that our homeless outreach is alive and well. And sometimes we can reach out, and other times we just can't. So we have to take enforcement action when nobody wants help. But that completes my report.
Thank you, Chief.
Can I say something really quick?
Go right ahead.
Captain Marks, I love that story, and I know you told it to us tonight, and I would say as many people as you can share that story with, do, because certain positions like yours sometimes get dehumanized. People forget that you're a dude, you're a guy, you're a person, and that likes to fish and whatever, brushes his teeth and watches TV and has a heart. And I think that the more that our kids see it, the more that residents see it, the easier it is when they see you. It's not just like, oh, God, here's this guy about to pull me over. Oh, it's the police. It's like I see the human first, or I remember the human action first, and then you give me the ticket, but whatever. But I think you get the point. So I hope you share that beautiful story, and thank you for sharing it with us
Will
tonight.
do. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
And thank the homeless outreach group as
I will,
well.
for
Everybody
sure.
who's been doing that. I really
Thank you.
appreciate that. Come on up, Chief.
Okay, I'll remember my name this time, Sergio Pellicer, District Chief. Sergio Pellicer, District Chief. So, Hurricane Dorian, all I could say is 76 pallets. That's how much we did. As of today, that was our last ship out this afternoon. The trailer's still sitting out in front of the station, but they're picking it up tomorrow, but everything's loaded up. The effort our city team that they put together is second to none. compared to any other city. You know, they're the hardest working people. And the most important thing is that everybody worked together, but most importantly, they gained so much mutual respect for each other, just working side by side with each other. This was one of the best team building things that I've ever witnessed. I'm proud to be part of this team. You know, the fact that we had leadership from all, the mayor, the commissioners, City Manager Garcia, Assistant City Manager Candido, and every department head everybody was working together. Everybody was pushing hard and working hard. And, you know, it just made this, for me, it was a pleasure to be part of it. You know, when I say, you know, you say Dania Beach and you know how long I've been here, I love it. And it just made me feel whole. So I also like to thank the ladies that worked here at City Hall. There was a lady named Demetra Robinson, and she had a team of ladies that were here packing, and then they came over to the fire station and helped us pack and get everything together. And then Jerry from Jackson's, he brought his truck over, brought his forklift over. He's been there every single day, taking trips back and forth, and it got so good that when they saw us working down the Tropical, when we were there loading everything, one of the managers there came up to me and she goes, "Hey, we're going to make your life a lot easier. We're going to start dropping you off some trailers." So that's how we ended up with so many pallets in and out. So again, I just like to say, I love the city. I love the commission. I just, you know, I can't say it anymore. I'm very happy with the way this all worked out. So thank you.
I have something.
Commissioner James?
Yes. Listen, when I came out there, I tell you, every time I came out there, I didn't see you, but the response from the residents, just from your portion of it, was that you didn't want to be called cheap. Call me Serge. I'm a human. I don't like being called cheap. Guess what? You're gonna get used to it. And that you were working as hard as anyone else out there, picking stuff up, doing the work, and those are the type of people that we need to be a part of this team. Selfless individuals that don't care about title, just care about helping people. And I know you've been here for a very long time in the city, and I know this is like home to you. And so I would personally like to thank you as well, along with, you know, having Fire Station 1 end up being the main place, because it was so much more room to be able to sort out the things. And Miss Benita, who was there and came there and was like, "I've worked at Publix for this amount of years. I know how to stock and sort." And Ms. Ivy and John the mailman. And I saw my classmates, and it was just such a beautiful event to witness day in and day out. And yes, Demetria stayed here from sun up to sundown, and I told her, "Go home, we have staff," and she just couldn't stop helping. And so I'm very thankful to her and the people that she brought around, and to all of us. But thank you, and thank your staff, and please let them know that we are very appreciative of the full support that we receive from the fire team.
Thank you very much.
And just one more thing on that. You know, we also did 3,000 sandbags the week before when we thought the hurricane was coming here. So, and that was city staff as well, did a fantastic job with that. And with the relief, it was every day, the amounts were bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, it was just amazing to see how many people were coming out. And a lot of people initially from Dania Beach, and then later on it was people from all over the place. So it was really good. And you guys did a great job. You really did, very organized. And I know Demetra she was not leaving. She showed up the first day and she stayed all the way through. And she really, you all worked really well together. It was really good to see. So, thank you.
Well, with that, I just like to add one more thing. You know, sometimes you need to be coached. And I was a little hesitant at first, but I had a great coach. So, City Manager, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item up is consent agenda. Do we have any polls? Any polls? No?
You have a poll, Bill? I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. No bids and requests for proposals. Public hearings. Number 1.
Ordinance number 2019-011, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 17 entitled Offenses Miscellaneous, Article 13 entitled Prohibition of Distribution of Plastic Straws, Section 17-134 entitled Prohibition of Distribution of Plastic Straws of the City Code of Ordinances pertaining to a citywide plastic straw ban, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, further, providing for an effective date.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak for or against?
Move the item.
Vice Mayor has something
Sorry.
she wants to say?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I had spoken briefly to the assistant city manager about it, how there had been a couple articles regarding how, because this is such a popular ordinance nationwide, there's a back order on some of the better straws. And did we want to consider, I don't know what it is, 90 days or however long it's going to be? I wanted to just make sure that none of our businesses feel like they either got forced into ordering some inventory that was subpar and is disappointed with that and has disappointed customers and, you know, has the proper amount of time to get the inventory they need, since it's not just anymore just paper straws. There's different variations of the quality of that, and there's also some budget readjustment apparently that they need to do when they decide how high up they want to go on the quality for those straws, and there's just a little bit more to it than I knew, so I want to make sure that we give them ample time.
City Manager?
I think that is a really tremendous idea, and I highly recommend it to at least have a 90-day grace period. It'll also give us the opportunity, Vice Mayor, to inform and promote this great thing that the city's doing.
I'd like to go to some of the different businesses, and any of the other commissioners want to join. I know we talked about doing a video, but I really want to make sure that we put that word out there so nobody feels like this was sprung up upon them.
Absolutely.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor, I'll kind of speak for City Attorney Ansbro. The citywide ban would not take effect until January 1, 2020, although the code enforcement will enforce the existing prohibitions. So there will be time until January 1 before
Okay.
the citywide goes into effect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
That's-
Asbro.
That's more than 90 days, right? So, good. Okay.
Move the item.
Move the item, there you go. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item, number 2.
Ordinance number 2019-012, an ordinance of the City Commission of Dania Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 27 of the City Code of Ordinances by adding Article 5 to Chapter 27. Such article to be entitled Stormwater Regulations relating to the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System Stormwater Program, NPDES, providing for stormwater management plan requirements, illicit discharge, detection and elimination, provisions, prohibition of illegal discharges, material management, and post-construction inspection and enforcement, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, further, providing for an effective date.
Vice Mayor?
I had a question about this. Perhaps, Fernando, if you could just come up here for a moment. So in our previous meeting, we had consensus to move forward with looking at getting rid in the city of the glycophosphate fertilizers. And then I see language in here that discusses fertilizer and who may lay the fertilizer and things like that. But I don't see anything specific to changing the fertilizer or anything that uses the language to clarify that it would be no longer a glycophosphate fertilizer. So can you talk to me about that for a moment?
Good evening, Fernando Rodriguez, Public Services Director. It's my first time up here, so
Heyo.
hello, everybody.
Hello.
Great question. Glyphosate has been very controversial, as you know. Lately, it was put out by Monsanto back in '74. There's a lot of controversy now as to its impact on the environment and human health, etc., and the crops. It really is a product used in almost 700 products out there, glyphosate. It's controversial because some folks still believe, some scientists, that it's not really harmful if used in the proper way. So to start out with, let me say that our landscape contractor, I've discussed it with them several times over the past couple of weeks, and I've also verified they use best practices in the amount of times that they used this Roundup. Roundup is the generic off-the-shelf name that has glyphosate. And I say glyphosate slowly because there's another product that I want to speak about in a minute, which has a very similar name, which is the one that's benign. So the bad one is glyphosate in the press, out there. That's the general opinion. That's in Roundup. We use Roundup on a very limited basis, as best practices dictate, 3 to 6 times a year, no more than 6 times a year. We follow the new Article 5 amendment in the ordinance, which is to stay away 25 feet from any environmentally sensitive area, any ESA, which includes drain inlets, canals, etc. So we don't go anywhere near those with the Roundup currently, and again, we use Roundup in a very limited fashion. However, some of the landscape contractors are getting away from Roundup, which contains glyphosate, and going to other alternative products. One of them is called Cheetah Pro. Cheetah Pro just came out earlier this year or late last year, and they use glufosinate. Glufosinate sounds similar, but it's benign. It has the same effect as the other product, but it's less of a bad character in the whole scheme of things. It doesn't have any harmful effects known at this point. So our contractor is going to fade out from Roundup as the year progresses. Later in the year, he's running out of the inventory of Roundup. He's going to go to this Cheetah Pro product, which is becoming more and more popular because it doesn't contain the glyphosate. It contains glufosinate. Similar name, but very different product. It affects it impacts on weeds very effectively, but it doesn't go into the plant as insidiously. It doesn't go down into the environment, but it also is a weed killer. So by the end of this year, maybe even sooner, we're going to get away from Roundup and go into a product called Cheetah Pro, which contains the other product, which is not harmful. But again, we're using best practices. We're not getting anywhere near the drain inlets, and we're only applying the current Roundup 3 to 6 times a year.
And I appreciate that thorough answer, but when I first inquired about this item, I was told by Public Services that we use an EPA-safe product and that we follow best practices. So we know that certain words are subjective, and so what perhaps it in some way was considered to be EPA-safe. There's a great body of medical evidence that shows us that perhaps we can say it's environmentally safe by some standards, although most environmentalists, I believe, would disagree, that there's a great body of research that shows that there's medical harm to exposure even at small amounts. So in terms of best practices, it would be best practices in terms of what? Best practices in terms of agricultural landscaping, best practices in terms of health, because from an environmental standpoint, I believe that they would say that use of none of it would be best practices. So I would really, and while this Cheetah Pro sounds like it might be an improvement, I'm just not familiar enough with it. And I would really like to sit down with you and make sure that we're on the same page about it, and that it is what we think it is, and maybe just consult some of the local experts in the field very quickly, and just, I don't think this needs to be any kind of protracted type of thing, and then come back and look at this one more time. So that would be my request.
We'll do that, thank you.
So I don't know, do I need a motion to?
Actually, Commissioner Brandon wanted to say
Oh,
something.
I apologize.
Commissioner Brandon.
Since we're on this subject that I know nothing about anyway, what I wanted to ask you was this: was it ever looked into where our patches, where we sell vegetables to all of the people in this city, to the east side, I believe it is, are those little apartments? Okay, what their lawn company is using out there, since we sometimes, I understand, call it organic, which I'm having a hard time believing we can call anything organic there if we don't know what the adjacent property that has all those townhouses are using on their lawns. That's what I've been asking for years.
I will find out. We can find out. do not know what they're using.
Go ahead,
Really?
Vice Mayor.
It's not a contractor, it's a.
I sat down with CRA staff about that exact question that you asked. The patch is not a certified organic
Right.
farm because of this exact reason. There has to be a specific setback from residential, because we can't control what residents use. If they want to use Roundup, they can use Roundup all day long. If they want to use an organic fertilizer, because that's their jam, they can do that all day long. But because we can't discern what it is, we won't at this time be able to ever really achieve having
Organic.
an organic certification, because I asked this because I said, would this change for the patch if we switch to an organic fertilizer perhaps? And she said that no, it wouldn't, because of that specific reason. It has to do with residential, not with what the actual city is using. So I hope that provides
It
a little
does, but
clarity.
it was stated in the past that it was organic, and that's when I brought it up that it can't be organic, because you don't know what they're using at those apartments there. So I hope I don't see any kind of sign there that says organic. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernand.
Thank you. This is the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak for or against?
Are we deferring the item, Vice Mayor, or?
Yes, I would request that we defer the item until our next meeting on the
So that's your motion.
24th, please. 23rd.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
So we're moving to continue it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So it'll be continued to the 23rd. Number 3.
Ordinance number 2019-013, an ordinance of the City Commission, City of Dania Beach, Florida, authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million for CAP Government, Inc., providing for severability, providing for conflicts, further, providing for an effective date.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak for or against?
Move the item.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Item number 4.
Ordinance number 2019-015, an ordinance of City Commission, City of Dania Beach, Florida, to amend Chapter 28, the Land Development Code of the city's Code of Ordinances by amending Article 100, General Use Restrictions applying to all zoning districts, Article 110, Use Regulations for commercial and mixed-use districts, Article 200, User Guide for Part 2 of the Code, Part 3, Special Zoning Districts, creating Subpart 5, Planned Small Lot Mixed-Use Development Districts, PMUD-SL, Article 350, Planned Small Lot Mixed-Use Development District, PMUD-SL, Article 300, How to Use, Article 405, Utilities in New Subdivisions, Article 410, Drainage Facilities, Article 420, Approval, Guarantee and Construction of Off-Site Improvements, Article 500, General Provisions, How to Use, Article 505, Sign Regulations, Article 510, Principal Arterial Commercial Design Standards, Article 515, Gasoline Service Stations, Article 520, Large Retail Establishment Standards, Article 530, Parking Structure Design, Article 600, General Provisions and Application Requirements, and Article 635, Site Plans to provide for planned small lot mixed-use development district, PMUD-SL regulations, development review procedures, and requirements, providing for severabilities, providing for conflicts, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Corinne, you have a presentation?
Good evening. Actually, the applicant is requesting to continue this item to the 23rd.
Okay.
He was hoping to be able to do some community outreach, meet with the neighborhood association that got derailed because of the hurricane. So he's asking for a little bit more time on that application.
I was going to ask about that, so that's good. Anybody want to make a motion? Actually, it's a public hearing. Is anybody here to speak for or against? It'll be, if it's deferred, you can come back at the next meeting, but if there is anybody who specifically came for this issue, we need to speak. No? They want to make a motion?
Motion to move the item to our next meeting,
This
Second.
23rd?
the 23rd?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. All right, next is discussion and possible action. I have the first item, which is hurricane relief for the Bahamas. I did want to speak a little bit more, piggyback on what the fire chief said earlier about what a great job everybody did during the relief efforts that we had in the city. And like I said, it was increasing every day. We were getting more and more people were hearing about it, more people were bringing things. It was a really good event. And I want to thank the Lions, the Dania Beach Lions, for everything that they did as well. I don't know how many they sent out, but they had a lot when I was over there, so I can only imagine. And they did it, I think, an extra day over what we did. So, and Demetra as well did a fantastic job working with us. I know she organized a lot, and she called a lot of people to come in and get things done. And I know she had some additional volunteers, but our city staff was really good to, she had some other people she was thinking about bringing in, but our city staff really jumped in, and the fire department really jumped in and did a great job. Something that I wanted to discuss about this is that we know this is going to be an ongoing effort over in the Bahamas. And we did this in a hurry. It was very taxing, though, on our city staff, on the city itself. And I'd like to see us maybe do this again in about 3 months, 4 months, because this is going to be an ongoing effort. And if we have the time to plan it, we can really plan it well. And one of the issues I know, for example, with Demetra's group, she wanted to put our logo on her flyers to show that she was working with the city. And obviously, we'd have to vote on that, and we couldn't do that in time. So, if we have groups that we work with, we might be able to make some arrangements to do something like that. But I'd like to see us maybe do it again, because this is not something that's going to go away anytime soon. And people feel very generous when things like this first happen. And they probably need to be reminded a little bit once the time passes that they're still in need. And if we can do something to help. So I would like to suggest maybe something around, I don't know, Thanksgiving or the holidays, that maybe we could do something like that. Anybody have any? Commissioner James?
Yes, thank you. Very, very thankful for the city being a catalyst and stepping up. This is something that I've never heard of the city kind of doing before, so I was happy when we opened our doors, because we have to show that we are more than government, that we really service the community. Like I said, we saw everyone coming together. I only wish that before we do something like this, we all have input in it, and so we all can brainstorm together. I know this was last minute, we couldn't call a meeting, but things that started before I had even heard about it. And so I would like to be a part of the conversations that are going on before a decision is made. All of us, because we could have all gathered so many other resources. Now, the second thing I'm going to say is, I had a conference call with Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz and some other individuals, and the problem isn't going to continue to be the goods. The problem is going to be monetary. They need to rebuild. They need construction. They need GCs. They need materials, and so they are. For 50,000 people, they are very overwhelmed with the amount of supplies, and a lot of those people are coming here to South Florida. So I don't know if we can try and do something for the people here, that we're going to have an influx of people here. We're probably going to see if they're coming from West Palm Beach and Broward County, they're actually leaving from the Abaco Islands, a lot of them. And so I've read multiple times and I've had multiple conversations that is not the good. So I don't know what we can come together and brainstorm with something that will benefit them, but it's definitely not the goods. I have friends that are over there that have been calling me, as a matter of fact, that are saying that those resources aren't even reaching them, and then it has to be tested, and then it has to be vetted. They don't have enough boots on the ground. And right now, they have so many dead bodies that are still floating and are still unaccounted for. I know they had mentioned at one time it was like 4 or 5, but there are thousands of
there's a lot more
people that are deceased there. So I don't know what efforts that we can put together, but I would have as a suggestion that it not be the type of goods like water and those type of things, because they're really requesting money. So I don't know if we could team up with a nonprofit and try and do a challenge. My organization was doing it, but if you guys have the city has a further reach than my organization, and so if you could take it over and find a nonprofit that, every $10,000, I guess, that we reach our milestone, we send it over there to the Bahamas to, a trusted place, or whoever we decide where it's going to go, so they can purchase the goods and be able to really restore the life, because they're going to need more than bottles of water and toilet paper to really get back what they lost.
I completely agree. I think we kind of need to see how things play out over the next several weeks over there, and what happens and what the needs are, because they change all the time. Initially, it was water. We need water. We need water. And then it was, we need people to build. We need tools. We need, we need to get people out of there. We need medical help. There's all different things. So I think we kind of need to see how it plays out. But that's why I'm saying I'd like to say 3 months or so. Like we talk about it, before then, obviously, and start planning it, but at least we kind of see how things play out and see where we are at that point, and see where they are at that point and what the needs really are, and then we can do a good assessment over it. But I'd like us to start thinking about it now, and some ideas about things that we could do, and just see if everybody is interested in doing that. City Manager.
Yes, I concur with Commissioner James. I just wanted to remind everybody that our local resident, Russell Benford, he lives here in Dania Beach. His mom is a senior who participates in Commissioner Brandymart's senior program. He is the senior vice president of government relations for Royal Caribbean, and he is in the middle of everything. He was the one actually, and Carnival Corporation, that gave me the contact to take our supplies. So maybe working with one of our very own that lives here, who's a vice president for government relations that's working right now with the Bahama, he could help us. And to me, the more non-for-profit organizations that we can team up, I think the better, to make it a true team effort, Commissioners, Mayor, Vice Mayor.
I'd agree. So do we have consensus that we'll start looking into this and plan for it in the next? Go ahead, Commissioner.
I think that what the city manager said is great. The nonprofits, get them all involved in it. Because this isn't something we do ourselves. We just can't. And especially we're going into our own holidays, and we have to take care of our own people too. So we're better off getting and asking for more help from other organizations. That's really how I feel.
Right. I think we're all on the same page on this. It's a matter of, and who knows? Anything can happen. Hurricane season isn't over yet. God forbid. But there's always the potential that something else could happen. So, but because that was such a devastating event. I mean, like I keep saying to people, 2 days of a Category 5 spinning over an island. I can't even imagine that.
Could have been us.
And the news obviously is not reporting everything. We know that there's a lot more people over there that haven't made it, or that they haven't found, and they're never going to find, most likely. And it's a tragedy. So I just want us to start moving in that direction and start formulating a plan so that we can kind of move forward with it. And maybe we can regroup on this next meeting or the meeting after and kind of see where we are and go from there. Agree? Yeah, maybe a month. So this way it gives everyone time to kind of calm down and get a little more organized with it. So, do I have consensus on this?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, good. Next item is City Manager Garcia, move Tuesday, October 22 meeting to Tuesday, October 29th.
Yes, thank you. The Florida League of Cities has their annual advocacy trip to Washington, D.C., speaking with Mary Lou from the Broward League of Cities and speaking with Commissioner Harris. It's extremely important that we have representation there. The agenda to meet with Congress and with our U.S. senators really hits home, particularly with the discussion of Airbnb and housing. I also will be away for the ICMA, but I think it's very important to at least have one representative in Washington, D.C. I'm still hoping that maybe, Commissioner James can attend. I know that both the mayor and the vice mayor have several conferences and commitments in October, but I think Dania Beach should be present in Washington, D.C., particularly to discuss housing and Airbnb.
Commissioner James?
I cannot do October 29th. I have a obligation. I'm being inducted into the Broward County Sports Hall of Fame, so I won't be able to be at that meeting. If we could,
How about
maybe,
the 28th?
yeah, if we can move it like a day before or
Sure.
after, I could do that, but not the 29th.
Is everybody okay then with Monday, the 28th?
Let me just confirm real quick. But I think
Okay.
so.
Yep. I'm going to change it again.
I'm good with them.
Okay, so Monday, the 28th? Same thing.
And I'm gonna get back to you also on the 22nd as far as me going up there.
DC.
I have things on my calendar, but I'm not sure if they were scheduled without confirming. So
That would be great. I know that,
I'm gonna check.
that this agenda is one of the best agendas I've ever seen in regards to advocacy. Thank you.
So we're not going to have it the 22nd?
No,
We're going to have
doing
it
on
the
28th.
Monday, the 28th.
Halloween week, we can all dress up.
Yes. I was just going to suggest
Not even
that.
gonna go there.
No,
Okay.
the 28th.
Okay.
Well, you guys
So
have fun.
good. Do we need a motion or just?
Yeah.
It's good.
Commissioner,
Consensus is fine?
where's
Okay.
your induction event? If you,
Well, I'm really not supposed to be talking about it yet before it comes out, but whatever. But it is going to be at the convention center.
if you want to get us information later on, it'd be
Well,
great.
when it comes out, I'll then formally announce it, even though I already did, but I couldn't just say I couldn't make it, but
Okay.
don't tell nobody.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, commission comments. Commissioner Brandon.
Yes. I just wanted to say that I sympathize with everybody. However, I'm very happy it didn't hit here. I really am. I wish it didn't hit anywhere. And I see by the news that there is another one out there. And I see that there's 3 more behind it that might not follow the first guy, but they're giving it a chance and odds of 20 or something percentage. But I want to tell you something, okay? As you know, we have a seniors club in this city. And we were supposed to have our meeting on that Thursday. We did not have our meeting. However, for 3 days before our meeting date, the weather was beautiful. Some of my seniors did go there. And I have to laugh at one of them, because if I ever say his name right here, you'll probably all die laughing. But he showed up in his truck over there. And that's strange, right? And I'll tell you, though, like I said, I sympathize. However, even if I wanted to change the date and open, I couldn't. In a matter of minutes, 3 railroad container cars were dropped off exactly in front of the front door. We went there to see them, so that they could put goods in these containers to get them over to the Bahamas. That was okay. I was okay with that too. However, with the ongoing things that you keep talking about, which fixing the Bahamas could take longer than I am alive. We will still have our meetings. There will be no containers in that parking lot so that we cannot get in. This time it was all fine because you did a good job, Eric and city manager, in getting the word out that the meeting was canceled. So out of the people that go there, only 3 people showed up over there. So that was easy. But I want you to know that I don't even know if you two were aware of those containers being dropped there, those railroad cars. Well, I want to tell you right now, I don't know how to push one, but I'll do my damnedest if I go there for a senior meeting and find those containers are back there again, because the world doesn't stop spinning and we don't stop serving our seniors. So whoever that man is, because I don't even think you know about it, that thought this was a great big wonderful thing to do over there, which it was, he's got to find a different staging area. He has to, because I'm not going to cancel another senior meeting for anybody, and I don't care where they're from or what problems they got. They better keep in touch with you. That's our property. You lease it to them. But you are keeping an eye on what they're doing with it, I assume. Am I right? Yes, ma'am. I see that, all right, because we don't really want the people in the city to know what we have found there in the past. And I'll tell you, I'm one of those commissioners that don't mind getting up here and telling the world what makes me sick over there. And I'm just warning you right now, they have to find a different staging area instead of dropping off. You know the trains you see go by with 200 cars? Those things on the top are called containers. Well, they decided to drop them off right in my front door at IT Parker. So like I said, charity begins at home. And I always will feel that way and was taught that. Other than that, if anybody has any opening on Marina Advisory Board, I have someone to put on. But thank you for listening to my complaint about that, and I understand even Bobby canceled her meeting. That was all right that time, but long going, let's carry this on forever unless you check if it's a Monday or a first Thursday of the month, because then it's not going to happen. It's not.
Commissioner Harris?
Just an update on the Broward MPO cost feasible plan, which all the projects have to be in by, I think, October before funding comes out next year. And that also involves the 1 penny sales tax. There's meetings all day Thursday and Friday morning at the MPO about that. And then there was an interesting article in the paper over the weekend about rent prices going up in all of South Florida. So this survey was done over 260 of the largest cities in America that were surveyed, and the increase on the average month's rent was $17. But in South Florida, Broward County is the highest at $1,948. Palm Beach County, average $1,448, and Miami-Dade, $1,729. So the development effect in the future with more units will help drive down prices because there's more of an inventory. So, we can't do anything about market rates. I mean, the market is the market in South Florida, where over 30% of your income goes towards housing. But we're doing our part to help out with that. So I don't know if anybody else saw the article, but, and I just want to ask one more thing about the entrance unit sign at Griffin Road and US 1. Is that going to? We did.
Good evening. Mark LaFerriere, Community Development. Hi.
The time frame for completion of that entrance unit?
I just met this last week with the contractor. The sign is under fabrication. We expect to get the permit released from DOT this week or early next week. We'll take that permit and be able to give it to Broward County. We expect that permitting to take about a month with Broward County. We've already done some preview with them. And then it takes about 2 weeks to install the sign. So we think we'll be able to get it done somewhere around Thanksgiving.
Commissioner James?
Does that include the landscaping? Or what are we going to do with, who's in charge of the landscaping? Are we going to do different landscaping with the sign?
Yeah, there'll be different landscaping. We've hired Kona Gray, you may recall Kona from EDSA, to do a design. He's got a couple of conceptual designs. That landscaping plan is underway now. That-
Okay.
We're hoping to mesh that in, so the timing is going to be right.
Right, okay, that's what.
We look forward to making a presentation on that within the next month or so.
Don't go anywhere, Mark.
That's
Commissioner-
all. Thank you, Mark.
Commissioner
And thanks,
Brandimari
everybody,
wanted
for
to-
staying tonight. Thank you very much.
It's early tonight.
They ask you again. You weren't prepared the last time, but I should have called you. What's wrong with Popeyes? We built
Oh,
a
I'm
14-story
sorry.
building, and there's Popeyes.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I'm hearing from them?
Yeah.
And then you straighten me out, okay? They can't get an inspector to inspect the place to get us open. Now, I can build a 14-story building for as long as it's taken Popeyes to open it.
Yeah, I've had several conversations with the contractor. They've changed contractors several times during the last 3 years of this project. The one that just came on in the last 30 days has called in for inspections and got inspections. He expects to be open in about 60 to 90 days.
60 to 90
Yeah,
days.
That's what he told us, yeah.
Next year.
Well, that's the time frame he gave us.
Okay, and how about Winn-Dixie?
No one's come in to talk to me about Winn-Dixie in a long time.
Then I would like to have BSO go and find out what's inside there. No, I'm serious, We're watching it all the time from our catwalk, and I haven't complained to, where is Candida? There he is, my man. Our catwalk, right? We watch all the goods going in there. Could it be a pot house? What is it?
What we'll do is I'll ask the code department to stop in tomorrow.
Because if
with-
you recall, the manager or owner of there came here and chastised us because we approved the bank to become what do you call that? A cannabis place. And, I'm going to lose my tenant in Winn-Dixie. Well, these tenants, you can't see them, but you could see the goods going in, and you could see pallets going out the back door. I want to know what's inside that building.
I'll go myself tomorrow.
Huh?
I'll go with code tomorrow and find out what's going on.
Then how will I find out?
The pots at
I'll
Winn-Dixie?
call the manager and I'll call you.
And if you find cannabis in there, tell them it belongs in the bank building. They got the wrong building.
What time do you see it going in?
At night.
Okay.
All right.
At night, the back doors are equal to our building 101, the back doors. 18-wheelers are pulling in, pallets are going in, nobody's coming out unless it's an underground city.
We'll try and get access tomorrow. If
Okay.
not, we'll go by in the evening to see what's going on.
Okay,
We're
thanks
losing
a
control
lot.
here. Okay, Commissioner James. Your
Do
turn, I
they
think.
look normal, Chicky? Okay, never mind. Ms. Grace, you okay?
I would like to say something. I know that citizens have a right to say something, but you're under your comments at this point. So I need to ask the attorney whether or not, and the mayor whether or not I can say a few words.
Do you want to do your comments first, and then we'll have Ms. Grace speak, or do you want to let her speak first?
She can speak first. I don't know what.
I'll let her speak. Yeah, come on up. We'll limit you, though, because we're actually on a roll here, and I think we might get out at a normal hour. Yeah, how is your husband?
First of all, I want to thank you. He said to me, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to City Hall because I can't take this anymore." And certain things bother me. This is a very caring and loving city, which I love so much. And when the proposal came before you for West Lawn, there were a few citizens that came up here and said some things that I was very disappointed in, simply because they were residents before I even came here. And if anybody should know the history of Dania Beach, both of those people should have known. So I brought the article with me. It says, honoring the courage of residents who worked to wrong a right in Dania Beach. And it was not only those 3 residents, but it was also the current commission that sat at that time. It was Howard Hirsch, Gene Cook, Chester Bird, John Bertino, and Charles McEely. This article goes back to 1930, when the residents, the black residents of Dania Beach, were buried on the east side of the track. And they moved those graves to the west side of the track, and they put them in mass graves, which was definitely wrong. But the city of Dania Beach made that correct. In 1982, John Bertina and Chester Bird, along with Fred Beneby, Price, did a dedication, Henry Graham, we were all there, the residents of Dania Beach, did a dedication service to take those graves and separate them and put them in their own vaults and paint them, and did a plaque over in the corner where those graves were. One of the gentlemen that worked with Fred Beneby and the other gentleman has passed on, and all they're asking us to do now is to come back full circle and put everything in perspective. And that's why Fred Beneby asked for us to do the rededication service with the plaque. I have the article here. I'm not going to sit here and read it all to you. You can pull it up just like I did. I even have the original article from the Sun Sentinel. This is from the West Side Gazette when this actually happened. Let's not divide this city. Let's keep it in unity. Let's keep it in perspective. Let's keep it correct, and let us do what's right, not only for this incident, but all incidents in the city of Dania Beach that we want to make right wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. I don't think anybody disagreed with that. I don't, that's not what I heard earlier. The impression I got was that everybody thought this was something really important that we need to do, so. Yeah, but I didn't even hear that in the comments, so, anyway, okay, go ahead, Commissioner James.
Yes. So part of being an alumni at the University of Miami is that I always have the privilege of asking or having a relationship with the people that are in the offices to ask them for tickets. And so they give us 50 complimentary tickets, which I have gotten with the athletic director, Eric Brown, to go to the University of Miami game this Saturday. Even though they aren't playing well, I really hope they can beat BCC. It'd be really sad if they can't beat them. We can't beat the band, but the football players, hopefully we can pull that off. And so it's going to be a lot of kids. I definitely am going to go, but I am opening up the invitation for any of you all. I'm letting you all know about it in case you wanted to go. The game is at 4 o'clock. You're going to be in the sun on Saturday, and I think we are going to leave around, what did we say, 2:30, around there. And so do anyone want to go and lose their mind with 40 kids with me?
I wish I could, but I have plans.
I just wanted to make sure we all knew about it and had the opportunity to go.
This is the induction thing?
No, this is the
Sorry.
game. It's a
Did you
football
go to
game.
Winn-Dixie?
It was good.
I'm done.
I love you. This is this Saturday. It's a football game. Well, Lauren doesn't
College
really.
football, no less.
You said what?
It's college football, no less.
It's a college football game.
Well, they're playing better than the Dolphins, so.
No, this isn't the induction. This is a college football game. University of Miami versus Bethune-Cookman College at 4 o'clock this Saturday.
Can't do it, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Bethune-Cookman University.
I really wish I could, but I
Okay,
can't.
no, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you all got the invitation. Moving along to the 115th birthday celebration, I've gotten a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages of people who are in fear that they will not be invited to this celebration at the Tropical Acres. And I think I even read a comment that said, this is only for people that put in contributions to the city. Well, I'm a taxpayer and I put in contributions to the city as well, which is true. So I don't know if we can still keep the event, but maybe do like we did the last time and charge and sell tickets so everyone that wants to come could have a opportunity to come. Even if you limit the amount of tickets, we can have a table for the city and everyone else pays for their tickets, because went over the fact that, okay, we can invite certain dignitaries and their ticket is complimentary, but then you have residents that feel like, why are they more important than the people that are paying taxes in the city? And so I'm wrestling and trying to understand how we privatize an event and not open it up to all of the residents.
City manager?
That's actually a discussion that I had, I think the day before yesterday, or maybe even yesterday with the mayor. Since Tropical Acres has been so generous, I was trying to think how we could open it up to everybody and really be inclusive. My suggestion to you would be to invite those individuals that serve as volunteers in your boards, which will be X amount of folks. And then you probably have a couple hundred people, because there's room for 300. We would need to find out exactly how many seats Tropical Acres would give us. Is it 250? Is it 300? But I think it's a very good idea, because even though Tropical Acres wants to be the sponsor, it'd be good if we can open up a couple tables for people to pay, because that money could go
But just
towards.
a couple, you said a couple, how many? I mean, we have 35,000 residents, and so if we're only opening up 2 tables.
No, however many, you guys are.
I don't remember how we did it last time. Bill, do you remember how we did it last time? Did everyone pay for tickets? I know I paid $100 for a ticket. $150 for one ticket. I mean, I know this isn't going to be in comparison on scale of, the type of event, but everybody that came had to pay to come out. I don't even remember how many complimentary tickets there were, but that way you didn't have anyone feeling like, why did they get invited for free versus me?
You guys could charge. Tropical Acres is sponsoring this champagne breakfast. So it's almost like their birthday present to us.
I understand that. No. I understand that. I just want us to be able to answer to residents who are, some of them are really upset that because if they don't know me or they don't know anyone up here, they'll get left out. And if they're working and they don't have the opportunity to serve on a board or whatever it is, like, at least we put it out there. And if it's 300 seats that they say that we can have, maybe we can say, 250 will come to the first come, first serve. The tickets bought, and you can only buy a maximum of 3 tickets or something that'll make it fair for the entire city.
I agree with you on that as well. I'd like to see if we could, because we were talking about, I think we were saying maybe this week we were going to discuss exactly.
I think it's important that we go back and we meet with the owner of Tropical Acres, who's been so generous, but to finally get a number from him, and then be able to come back. And I think it's important to open it up to the public.
Because the problem is there is limited seating, so, and we wanted to try to do something. The whole idea was that we would have money coming in that we could use towards something good for the city, whether it's a scholarship or something like that. So yeah, I don't have a problem with charging people if we're going to do that. But I also do think that we need to, but I don't know if that's what they're giving us. So we need to see. I don't know. So
Now I understand.
So now we need to just confirm that, and we need to then figure out where we're going to go from there. So I think you had said you were going to give a call over there and talk to Francie. So
Yes.
talk to Francie, and then we'll find out.
And then if we can have a budget, like a line item budget for what we're spending like $10,000 on, like sort of like how we've done it with the other portion that is going to be with CRA, so we can kind of like workshop that and talk about that all together. I've been planning in the planning stages for a long time, and I just received notification that I've been working on a STEM project or a STEM program with FAU, with the FAU right here at our Dania Beach location, and they want to give us a tour of their facilities and a boat ride, and so along with with Josh Gabazon, who represents us, they want to do it on October the 10th. I don't know if that day is good for you all for me to go back and tell them yay or nay, but we have applied for a grant, and FAU actually applied for it with us being the co-applicant, if I'm not mistaken, or something along those lines, for them to have a STEM program that would be cost-free to the city for our youth. And so the last time I went into Washington DC, that's one of the things that I went and spoke to the Department of Labor and all these other different entities and agencies up there with Josh Capitan, and this is something that actually has stuck. And so they want to do a tour a tour of the facility. So do you all have
Do you-
October 10th?
Do you have a time on the 10th?
He said it would be like midday, like
So around
10
lunchtime?
to 12 or something like that, like morning to midday.
I can be available.
I'd have to get back to you about the 10th, so I'll let Christine know tomorrow.
Okay, that's, yeah, it's a second Thursday, Chicky.
Yeah, Commissioner Harris has his light on,
Okay.
too.
Well, no, about this? You can talk, go ahead.
Because I think that we have a wonderful opportunity here to show our charity if we have this event at Tropical Acres and charge $10, which is minimal for unlimited food and mimosas, that all that money goes to our hurricane relief program. It's only a month and a half from Christmas, or we use it as a fund that's ongoing, and then we release the funds next year. But, I mean, when we had the 110 event, we raised a lot of money, and then that event, Friday night, paid for the Saturday event. So we have to be kind of creative in what we can do and how many people we can have, and then the money would go to hurricane relief building fund.
I like the idea, but since it's our anniversary or our birthday party, and it's supposed to be about the city, I'd kind of like to see whatever money is collected go to something in the city specifically, whether, like I said, whether it's a scholarship or it's a fund for something to do with the city. And then we could always do something separate, like we were talking about earlier. That's my only thought on it. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that.
I just think that we should charge more than $10.
And I think more than
You
$10
can raise
too.
more
I
money,
agree.
even if it's
I agree.
$50. It's-
I would say at least 50.
But Mayor, we don't know how many
We don't know
people
yet.
Jack was planning on.
Right, and
So you
that's-
can't do that.
Right.
You can't do that. I'll tell you why.
Can't do what?
Do what you're saying about charging the money and all that, because first we got to find out how many people Jack was giving the food out free for.
Right.
That's the most important thing. He's being generous, right? But we can't say, oh, by the way, we'll have 1,000 people there. He might only be giving food out for 500, so I'm going to beat up the other
The
500.
fire chief will show up and close them down.
Yeah, right, yeah, somebody who closed it. Well, no, because when I had Sheriff Jenny at the time's thing there, it broke all records. And that was like 600-700 people we had there.
I think we need to come back after you've
Yes.
had your phone
Yeah,
calls.
you're right.
Okay. Vice Mayor, did you have something?
Well, I was just going to ask, I mean, if we were going to do a Dania Beach, if we wanted to do something that benefited the city of Dania Beach, could it be something that incorporates the Historical Society, which we're trying to get off the ground, and, you know, we're going to need some initial help in getting that off the ground. So would that be something that, I mean, to me, that's been, I mean, people have been asking for that for so long, and has tremendous benefit and meaning to the city, and it just ties in so perfectly to when you're talking about two historical birthdays. Would that be something that we could consider?
I'm sure we can consider it. I think we need to get a little more information, and then we can maybe come back and we can all maybe workshop it or something, or discuss it and vote on it and see what we're going to do. Fair? To see, because let's see how many it is first of all, and then we figure out how much we'll charge, and then go from there. Okay? Might be a couple of things we can do. You never know.
He looks so bored.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner James. Were you finished?
I think I'm finished. I think I forgot everything else.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Sorry, I remembered. One last thing, I really want to commend our city manager, and especially Candido. I had to aggravate him so much during the hurricane, and as much as I criticize, I would like to praise and give thanks. to the staff here, to you all staff, and the city manager for the amazing display of leadership and the dedication that happened during the hurricane. The response time was incredible. The quality of work was amazing, and the sandbag distribution was hot, but yet, you know, you had so many hands that we had people that really didn't really need to be there, but you had people from the community wanting to come out and help, and BSO along with their staff and public services, and especially Candido, because I know that the city manager doesn't like to sleep, but, you know, her health made her sit down, and Candido really stepped up to the plate. So I just wanted to publicly thank you all, because you all did a great job during that time.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I would just add on to that sentence. I would just like to add, I never hear that one. I would just like to add on to that sentence that there's so many people that stepped up, Public Works, and the team in general really came together. And, you know, they say that in times of disaster, you really see the best in people. And I was blown away by everyone. And I wish we could be that way more often, where we just selflessly give of ourselves and give to our community, and you know, really come together like that was something beautiful to see. On a very important note, 20 days left in the contest to rename the city. Don't you laugh, because none of you can enter anyway. Did you enter? Did you enter yet? Back row? Okay, well, you're going to get left behind. There's a box right there outside of the commission office. What are you asking, Betty? We're going to rename the city. It's going to be something cute.
Nickname.
Yes, it's going to be a nickname. We're calling it Rename the City Contest because that's funny. And I'm going to clarify. I want to finish my sentences, if I'm allowed to finish my sentences. Some people have confused it with a slogan, that we're looking for a different slogan or a moniker or anything like that. A nickname. So I'm going to give you some examples. Sin City, not that I'm recommending that. Cannabis City. Cannabis City. I may be recommending that. The Big Apple, the Windy City. You get me? All right. So, and then we will be having a discussion about it at a public meeting in October. The contest ends on September 30th, whatever's the last day of September, and we'll talk about it. We'll pick our top 3, then we'll hash it out, and the winner gets bragging rights that you renamed the city, and 2 tickets to the previously mentioned brunch. Have a nice night.
Okay. All I really wanted to say tonight was, again, I have already sent out thank yous to our city staff and everybody for all the hard work they put in, and it really was a huge, huge team effort, starting even before the sandbag distribution. Everybody was jumping in on everything, and everybody was really on their A game from that point on. And in particular, I want to mention our city manager, Anna Garcia, who was sick as a dog and was still responding to texts, responding to phone calls, you know, making sure things were getting done, in communication the entire time. And I don't think I have actually said thank you yet, so I want to make sure I did that publicly. But everybody really jumped in. I mean, Mark was out there lifting sandbags on that Friday night. I saw, well, Fernando, I don't even want to, Fernando was everywhere, so he literally everywhere. So was Candido. They were both everywhere, all over the place. And the city staff was just phenomenal. So, and our fire chief and BSO chief already, you guys already know, I've already talked to you guys about everything you did. BSO was fantastic on Friday night. They really, that sandbag distribution was a well-oiled machine. I can't even, it went, I mean, we gave out 3,000 sandbags in an hour and a half. I mean, I've never seen it was like a perfect little conveyor belt, it moved. And a lot of that was because BSO had it controlled as far as the cars coming in and the cars going out. And we only had maybe 10 cars left that didn't get sandbags at the end. So by the time we ran out, so it was pretty good. And our fire chief also with the Bahamas relief as well was just everybody just stepped up. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just, and it wasn't even a question. Everybody just did it, and it was great. And everybody here, I mean, everybody was really played a really big role, and I appreciate that. We all appreciate it, and our residents were fantastic coming out and donating and wanting to help and trying to help and doing whatever they could. And I just, it was a wonderful thing to see the teamwork and see everybody really pitching in. So I just wanted to say thank you publicly as well, and go Dania Beach. Next is appointments. We have the Complete Count Advisory Committee. Does anybody have appointments yet that they want to put on that? Vice Mayor?
I'm going to be honest. I'm having a really tough time selling this. I just got the things from Mark, I think, and you perfectly did what we asked, which was more specifically clarify what the rules are. But then I have people saying, so wait a second. Now you're going to want me to walk around. Well, how many times a week am I going to walk around? You know, it says he lists off some tasks. That may need to happen. So I'm really struggling with mine, and I'm just putting it out there. If anyone is listening, if you want to do it, I hope you'll contact us, because the people who I was approaching don't want to commit to it because they don't want to commit to something and then not be able to deliver.
You're talking about the census?
We're
Yes.
on the census committee. Right. Did you go to Winn-Dixie? Right.
I have at
No.
least one person that.
You do?
Yes.
That's in? Do you have an
That's in.
extra?
I have at least one, and she's here.
I just tried to steal her, but she's taken.
No, she's already taken.
All right. I think I know who it is.
I'm going to go ahead and point you, Charlotte Sloboda.
She's got her walking shoes on.
What about?
At the estate.
You want to be on it?
Armand?
Armand would be great.
Armand, I'll buy you a pair of Nikes.
Well, he already told me no, so I'm waiting to see if he
Yeah,
tells
but I'm
you
offering
yes.
Nikes.
Put the pressure on him.
So I have one appointment would be Charlotte Sloboda.
Oh, all right.
I'm putting her in before anybody tries
What's
to steal it from me.
All right, I'll keep
Anybody
trying.
else have an appointment?
Looks like Charlotte's going to be there by herself. Oh,
Yes, you're in.
Come up,
You're
come
in?
up, come up. Come
You're
up,
in.
Betty.
That's
Betty,
what I
come
heard.
up.
I heard
Betty,
you're in.
come up. She has a question. Betty, come up and make sure you state your name and address so we have it on the record.
Go, Betty.
Betty Sokol.
Go, Betty.
you're in.
My address?
Your address too, just so he has it for the.
609 Northwest 10th Street, Malaluca Gardens. I want to know, do you have to cover the whole city? I've done that 3 or 4 times with people setting up here. It was right.
No.
Not me.
Hand to Hashem. You do not have
No.
to cover the whole area. I'll still buy you a pair of
Do you get
Nikes.
like an area you have to go to? Is it a
You
certain
get to
area?
pick the area. You'll
You're
do
gonna work-
Malaluca. Malaluca's your area. You'll do Malaluca.
Betty, you want to be my appointment?
You work with the.
Betty, are you in my appointment?
Oh, fine.
I'm going to think about it, but
All
I
right.
will let you know.
I'll check back with you in 2 weeks.
And when does
now.
this start?
Once we get the,
April.
yeah.
When?
April. Once.
April.
Then we got to
Oh,
get,
maybe
we have
I
to get
might
the
even
committee
be here
together.
by then.
Beautiful.
I can always fly away, you know.
We'll bring you back.
Pass away, I mean. But I'm
Oh, no,
I'm
no.
fine.
Betty!
Oh, my God, Betty.
Really? Betty, took a dark turn.
Oh, you never
Betty, I'll
know.
meet you at Winn-Dixie.
I'm over.
I'll meet you at Winn-Dixie, Betty. She wants to fly high. We're going to go to Winn-Dixie. At Winn-Dixie.
Okay, so there is a Marine Advisory Board appointment for Vice Mayor Odman,
Well, yeah.
unless she has somebody else.
No. So my appointment is Mr. Valentine. He's
Marine Advisory Board?
yeah.
Is he a resident?
He's been boating since 1986. He enjoys waves and fishing and feeling the seawater through his hair. I don't know. He's my appointment. We'll get his address to you afterwards.
Okay, so can we, I guess we have to move to approve the appointments tonight?
Motion to approve the appointments?
Yeah, I have a motion to approve the appointments.
Thanks.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. All right, administrative reports, city manager.
I'll be really quick. So preparing for this hurricane was a real defining moment I think, in our city. I want to echo what you all have said. We have such a dedicated, diligent group of individuals, and not only did we plan and in a very proactive manner, but we really executed this. And thank God it was just a drill, and the hurricane didn't come our way. But we're ready, God forbid, if ever we have to deal with a hurricane. And from Chief Marks to Chief Pelissar to Mark, Candido, Fernando, Nikki, Eric, our Parks and Rec Director, it was a total team effort. And I just want to say that your words are our fuel. And so were the words and the appreciation of all our residents. Those that came and got the sandbags, those that came right after the storm that wanted to donate to the hurricane's relief. And we have a very, very special city in Dana Beach. And I think the combination of our elected officials and our residents and this team, this administration, and what you guys have allowed me to do by putting this team together, it's like the perfect storm, no pun intended. But you know what? We're ready for anything that comes our way, and we defend the city with a lot of honor and a lot of passion. I just wanted to thank everybody and thank you. And in a future meeting, we're going to come back to commend these individuals and also the partnership with the casino. We went to them because we wanted this sand giveaway to be smooth and to be able to go to the casino and be able to have this partnership was really something very special and again very defining for our city. The definition of teamwork is really alive and well in our city. Just wanted to thank everybody and thank you all for your support as well. And that concludes my report.
Our guest city attorney, do you have a report?
Mercifully, no report.
Okay. City clerk, reminders.
Upcoming meeting reminders. Tomorrow is the continuation of your budget workshop, at 10:30 a.m. And then on Thursday, September 12th at 5:01 is your first budget public hearing. Monday, September 23rd at 5:01 is your second budget public hearing, immediately followed by the regular city commission meeting. That's all I have.
Okay. With that, we're adjourned. It's only 9:11. 9:11, I know, I thought about it. Sure. They're on the agenda.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Are you back?
Oh, it was my pleasure. Good meeting you too.
Are you back tomorrow for the rest of our meeting?
Unfortunately, no. I'm headed to Brevard County for city council meetings up there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Well, it was very nice.
Anytime.
Nice to meet you.
Good meeting you
Thank
too.
I appreciate your
And good luck.
Yes, I appreciate your efforts this evening. I see it's not working. It's really fun. You're like you, sir.
Yeah.
Before he leaves, I'll catch him.
Craig, will you give the clerk your address?